Darren Riley, founder of JustAir. Our real focus is to really be that bridge a gap between data and community for healthier environments and really community-led action. I first off have to give a super heartfelt thank you and gratitude to all of us coming together, not just here in the US, but across the globe, to organize and make sure that we didn't miss the mark on this opportunity to share resources, share knowledge, for the end goal of building a more enriched community for real clean air action. So again, super thankful and really excited to take you all on this journey. So for my presentation, definitely tweaked it a bit given the current context, but really speaking towards the aspect of how do we make sure that communities are leading the charge, owning the data, and really making the differences and asking the questions that they want answered. So I'll walk through where we are today, give insight into our largest network here, right here in Michigan, building that network. What lessons did we learn through that process, and what did we do to respond to those lessons, and also where the gaps lie, but also really give a glimpse to the future of what does it look like when communities leading these sessions, leading these the frontier of what questions are asked and how to really propose intervention around air quality. So first off, where are we today? When I really think about this, I think we all feel some of the pressures given the current climate of things. The fact that we're pulling this together not in person really speaks volumes to the state of our space and the work and the amazing science and the years and years and decades of dedication that all you all have contributed to this space. But what I'm also really interested in is while we're really honing in on the data quality, instrumentation, process, guidelines, I see us really moving towards a world in a space where these tools and these frameworks are actually being put in the heads of communities where they are taking it to the next step of really solving those issues that are near and dear to their heart, right? And I like to use an analogy of thinking about the transition from computers to PC, where computers were largely held in the research and institutions, and who thought that we will have them in our pocket now today, right? Or even website creation. You needed a $100,000 website developer on staff, but now you can go ahead and go on these CRM sites and build a website from scratch. So how do we really make this more accessible, manageable to see all the amazing visions and art and creativity to answer the questions that communities are asking? But before we start, I'd love to come back to that question. I'd like to take you on a journey of our project in Wayne County. So Wayne County is the largest county in Michigan, the highest rates of asthma. Few quick points, bullet points here is Wayne County had a F rating from the Lung Association in America. Detroit, which is situated in Wayne County, largest city, Wayne County, has the third worst, was noted as the third worst city to live in with asthma. The fact is, actually, that's the context of what brought me to this space. Is I live in one of those blue dots that you see here on this map, where I developed asthma actually 7 years ago as an adult, which opened my eyes to the issues and really propelled me to enter this space. So just setting the stage of why we actually are looking at what's causing these symptoms, what's causing the decrease of life expectancy for the most vulnerable communities, and quite frankly, how these health disparities are showing up through kind of racial redlining and other issues that are taking place from historical placement of folks in this county. And so what do we do about it? We have a amazing partnership with the County of Wayne. The executive leadership here is really trying to take a resiliency, proactive approach on getting the data, but also moving the needle on how we actually reduce the things that we can't control when it comes to local source pollution. So where do we start? We start really in the community, working through the 43 communities within Wayne County. Our team, if my team is here, they know all the hard work that it took from going to toxic tours, from driving around with environmental justice leaders in their car, looking at hotspots, but really working with the community and building a framework to really understand how we deploy the monitors. I think it's super essential as we deploy these instruments that we really interface with the community to showcase that this instrument is actually working for you, not against you, is not surveillance. In certain communities, there's sensitivity around putting technology, right near my house. What is that being used for? Is it impacting me in a negative way? We have to be very clear and upfront and transparent with that. And that really starts with building that trust and building that expertise, and learning from community members who know their community much better than us, right? Next step is actually going through the deployment and training. So we work with community members and we work with residents, from all different walks of life, from returning citizens to folks who are just, graduating with a GED, to understand how to install these instruments, follow the SOPs, make sure we have daily quality control throughout our whole development process. And this is something that we'll come back to, but super essential to make sure we're training folks to create a resilient network when things go down or things are deployed, that we have a standardization and comparison throughout the whole deployment of project. And then we launched. We launched 100 monitors. It was very exciting. We have a JustAir portal called My JustAir, where people can subscribe to monitors, buy them, receive alerts, control the alerts, look at FAQs whenever they so please. But really having that data access and opportunity to observe the information right in the palm of their hands, right? And the really cool thing about this is just really showing the trust that was built between the county and also the government institution and also the community. You get to see that fabric and that thread of trust really forming together, which you kind of see outlined here, in the background of folks who may know Donnell Wilkins, one of the environmental justice leaders in our community, Teresa Landrup, and many others who've been on the forefront of a lot of this work. So when we go to lessons learned, so everything went exactly right. I think if we were in person, I think everyone would probably chuckle and laugh. Yeah, there are definitely some hiccups and some learnings along the way. And with our team, really the focus here on this next section is really to showcase, not to say that we solved the problem or check the box, but what things are we doing and what learnings are we coming up with to really mitigate some of these issues. So first start is multi-monitor network design and deployment. One thing that was critical for us is to have resiliency in our networks. We have to manage costs. We have to manage what do you call it? Infrastructural requirements. Can we draw power? Can we? Is it too heavy? Do we need two people to deploy that instrument? Right. So, and are we measuring the things that matter most to that community? Right. Are we going to measure a bunch of PM in a community that has an issue with SO2? Right? So we had to create a diverse network through our platform that we designed to really develop that. And one other thing here as well that we didn't realize, but is very important, is resiliency. So when things do happen that may impact a supplier or some firmware update that may occur, or you name it issue, we actually have resiliency that we don't lose the whole network. So really critical in building this multi-monitor network. We heard from others how important that is. Number two is field readiness and quality assurance. There's nothing worse than quality control. Nothing worse than going out in the field, not having the tools with you, not really having the frame of mind to make sure that we do what we said we're going to do to the work requirements. So one thing that we built out is a really simple, and we're not above Google Sheets and Google Forms. Simple form that is device specific within our network, so that people have, if it's not us, other folks have the SOPs in the palm of their hands, and we also can check that everything was complete and done. What's also critical about this as well, when we're talking about community networks, is that we prepare folks for the unexpected. So you see us wearing the yellow safety vest, very important for visibility. We do recommend having two people. I think it's really critical for safety when you're talking about ladders and other equipment usage. Also, if you have insurance or permits, having that accessible and printed out in their pocket. In certain communities, that may be a concern when someone's asking for what documentation to say that you have the right to do what you're doing. We want to make sure our community members are safe, especially when it's not just air, but community members who are contracted to help do this work. Third is quality assurance and the big QA word and incident detection. And this is all around uptime, making sure that we have data availability, correctness, and the whole nine yards. So in the back of our platform, JustAir team, we've built out a multi-monitor approach to handle those corrections, handle those flags, low value thresholds, flatlining, sudden spikes, the whole nine yards, so that we can constantly get alerted to do something about the network, but also make sure for long-term reporting, we can exclude or really go back and check to see that we have correct data. Again, it's following the best practice from the EPA QAP to make sure we have data availability, bias, and the whole 9 yards. And really looking to improve this process. Lastly, is actually one more after this, communicating uncertainty and trust. When a monitor goes down or when issues happen, we need to make that very transparent in real time. So we have our real time dashboard. You see the typical gray dot. Community members will then see that there's a maintenance log. Things that we can improve on is telling people what the update status is. Are we coming back within a day? What are the SLAs? Describing what's going on within that instrument. And so this is something we're looking to improve. But what's really amazing here is that trust and that transparency really goes a long way. We got an email the other day, a simple thing where someone asked, "Can you change the name of my monitor? It doesn't line up with my community." We changed the name of the monitor, and the community member was wildly ecstatic for that. Something very simple to us, but that's again being keen and transparent and open communication with the community and how important that is. And then the other one that we heard from most recently was around multi-stakeholder data management and unified reporting. So a lot of different devices, a lot of different variables that are different labels, the whole 9 yards. And so we built our platform to be interoperable for the community to download that data at the palm of their hands to their subscribe monitors, and also for others to really see that data within one section. And last but not least, what I'll mention is that the future is community. We built this, people use it for ordinances, for other opportunities to showcase policy, but the power is that what we built upon the network to really showcase from health for community awareness, AQI light, where things trigger, the light triggers on AQI readiness to raise awareness. From community research and health, where we're using inhalers. We just got an IRB 2 weeks ago for connected inhalers, mobile monitors, and stationary monitors to look at that diary for where triggers are happening to remove some of that risk and the traumas around exaggeration. Really excited to talk more about that. Community-driven policy, looking at trucking traffic and measuring the concentration at the same time to inform local road trucking count. So this is all inspiration from the community, by the community when we develop that network, and we're building and innovating further and further. So all that said is that I'm really excited to work with you all and excited for this space. We move from the past of politicizing air quality to actualizing clean air. So thank you so much, and excited to talk